Everyone, welcome in to our first Healthy Arizona Worksites Community of Practice. We are so excited that you're here joining us today and that we're launching this project. So thank you for joining. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. If you could keep yourself on mute until the end, we might have some time for some Q&A at the end, so feel free at the end. But during the presentation, if you could keep yourself on mute. If you want to put on speaker view, we have a few different presenters today so that you'll be able to see the presentation along with who's speaking at the time. Go ahead and do that under the view settings in Zoom. And then lastly, this is being recorded and it will be up on the Healthy Arizona Worksites program website at healthyazworksites.org. So if you want to go back and watch it or share with anyone, please feel free. We're really excited to get this started. So we'll go ahead and get into it. Today's agenda, we're going to do a quick HAWP overview of the program in case you aren't already familiar with the Healthy Arizona Worksites program. We're going to talk quickly about the new Mental Health and Resilience Initiative that is part of this community of practice. We are lucky to have Dr. Bennett with us here today to go over the scorecard overview, which is the scorecards that you filled out to become a Healthy Arizona Worksite. And then lastly, we're really excited to kick off the community of practice. We have a panel of wonderful professionals here that are going to be speaking on their experience at their organization for their wellness program. We have a diverse group of 4 people here. 2 have been involved with the HAWP program for many years, and 2, this is their first year. So we'll get to hear a little bit of different experiences from them. So we're really excited. And then before we go, we'll just do a couple of polls. And if we have some time, we can do a Q&A. So with that, I want to pass it over to Eileen Sanchez. She is the coordinator at ADHS for the Healthy Arizona Worksites program. And she's going to go over a little bit of an overview for HAWP. So Eileen, take it away.
Thank you so much, Irene. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for making the time to attend, this new project that, we're taking on. Of course, you're going to learn a lot more about it throughout the next hour. So again, my name is Eileen Sanchez. A lot of you attended our 2023 HAWP Awards event, and I had a chance to meet, some of you in person. If not, hopefully we've communicated through email. So it's very nice to see all of your faces and your names again. So what is HAWP? I hope everybody is here has at least heard the acronym already. So HAWP, Healthy Arizona Worksite Program. It's a statewide program from ADHS, Arizona Department of Health Services, which is part of a Healthy People, Healthy Communities, IGA, which is where we receive our funding from. And it was established by Arizona Department of Health Services to serve all 15 counties in Arizona. One of the main goals of HAWP, of course, is to improve the health and well-being of all Arizona workers. So we strive to do so by offering resources and guidance to Arizona worksites so that they can begin and implement a worksite wellness programs for their employees, or if they already have one in place, so that we can provide guidance, support, resources, so they can continue growing their strategies and providing the most support that they can to their employees, and of course surrounded communities. So HAWP uses the CDC Scorecard. Thank you all, for the past and in advance for filling out the CDC Scorecards. It's an evidence-based program implemented by the CDC that provides guidance on evidence-based strategies that employers can put in place to promote a healthy workforce. So we focus in on 18 different categories. And in this webinar, we're going to, hone in on 4 of those. So that's just a little bit about this initiative and, why we do what we do. So just a little bit of history. I know a lot of you, if you've been receiving the award, if you haven't connected with HAWP, Irene Cassidy is very familiar. She's the person that you contacted. This was because a few years ago, ADHS transitioned the program, HAWP, to Maricopa County. And Maricopa County took the lead in coordinating HAWP for the past few years, still statewide, but they were taking the lead to coordinate it. Now in 2022, we started the transition of HAWP back to Arizona Department of Health Services. So now this fiscal year, it's fully transitioned. Maricopa was doing, of course, a great job, but we want to make sure that we really truly do implement this statewide initiative. And just, open a platform so that all 15 counties, hopefully participate. Maricopa participates a lot. We want, all counties to participate equally. So this is just a little bit of history to date. The numbers might be a little higher now. I don't think I wasn't able to update them with exact numbers from this year, but we've had a multitude of worksites that have been trained, utilize the scorecard, and have received recognition through the HAWP Award. And I just wanted to, like I said, you're going to learn more about this project throughout this next hour. But this partnership with Dr. Joel Bennett, that created, this series of webinars. It's part of a special limited time offering of HAWP. So I'm glad that everybody's here and taking advantage of this right now. Because we wanted to, offer a way so that everybody could connect and engage more worksites across the board. But, you'll definitely be letting more information. And of course, benefits of joining HAWP, you receive guidance in establishing wellness strategies, depending on where a worksite is, along the spectrum, whether they're initiating or, they just want to make their program a little bit more robust, or, share best practices and, help other worksites who are starting. We'll provide monthly newsletters. We provide technical assistant labs where worksites can go in and receive help and support in filling out the application. Different workshops, access to webinars, and of course, recognition. As a state of Arizona, we want to recognize all the worksites for the work that they do in worksite wellness. Where to sign up. So to begin the process of applying and to be recognized as a healthy worksite in Arizona, you do have to go to our website. It's right there, healthyarizonaworksites.org. I'll share the link in a little bit. And everything that I said, any refresher reminder that you would like, if you want to share with somebody else, you can find it there. And the first step to begin, this process is to attend a HAWP 101 training if you haven't already. So this is just a screenshot of where you'll click. You'll go to their website, go to upcoming events, click on trainings, and on the right side is a screenshot of what is available right now. So we have a HAWP 101 online training that can be accessible at any time. It's just modules that you complete, but we also have a few in-person and virtual trainings coming up. So again, I'll put the link in there. Thanks, Dr. Bennett, for putting the link for the website. And, we hope that you sign up for a HAWP 101 if you need a refresher, or, if you're new in your organization and you have yet to attend one. And, you'll be receiving updates from us via the newsletter. So thank you. Thank you, Irene.
Yeah, thanks, Eileen. And with that, we are just going to go ahead and get into the overview of the new initiative. So this is the Mental Health and Resilience Initiative, like Eileen said, with transferring the management of the program back over to ADHS, we had an opportunity to do one thing. And what we kept hearing over and over again was worksites were wanting more information on mental health, resilience, burnout, and things like that. So we are so lucky to be able to partner with Dr. Bennett on this project. And he is going to be going into talking more about the scorecard. So thank you, Dr. Bennett, for being here. I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I see a lot of faces I know. I want to give a special shout out to the people who took our resilience training. If you want to put in the chat box, hi, I took the resilience training, so people know who you are, because we have another one coming up. So next slide, moving right along, because I want to get to our panelists. So I'm just going to share with you the awardee scores from last year that I think began this whole process. Next slide. So we have in the CDC Worksite Scorecard, for those of you who don't know, there are a number of categories. What we did was we focused on 4 of the categories that relate to mental health. The first one is depression, and each person who applies to get the award completes the CDC Worksite Scorecard, which is in the public domain. You can look it up, and they're asked to indicate how much each of these different elements exist. So for depression, I'll just go into detail. Does the workplace offer a free clinical assessment on depression, a screening tool, educational materials, some sort of interactive educational program, coaching and counseling, which is often your EAP, manager training, and health insurance coverage? So you can see here the results very quickly of the previous participants. So here are the number of individuals. Next, click next. So you can see of the 92 scorecards we got in 2023, you can see how these range. We have a lot of people selecting all 16 points of these possible 16. So the median is 88%. So just so you can see that there's still a lot of people who have a lot more work to do. Next slide. So this is where that falls. Next. The next dimension is stress. And just go ahead and you can see what's here. You can see how the range is, and that we have 83%. So very good for people who get the award. Here's alcohol and substance misuse. This is the area where we have the highest level of utilization in terms of presence of different programs. And finally, fatigue, which is the area that we have found year after year is less so. So next. So when you look at across all of these, what I wanted to show you is that the reason we are here, even with the panelists you're going to hear from, who have scored very well, there are still a lot of needs. There are still a lot of challenges. Just having these elements in place is not a guarantee that you are doing enough to prevent mental health, substance use issues. We have to do more, and that's why we're doing this community of practice. If you're listening today, and this is your first time, we want to hear from you. We want you to interact with other people who are here, because this is the first of several webinars where we're going to practice and learn together. So with that, click next, and you can see that there are 38 workplaces who have 80% or less on the score for depression elements in place. For stress, 46 workplaces. 31. So these are, and the next, you can see, so between 30 and 50 or even more, 60% are saying they don't even have these elements in place. So that's why we're here, to how can we share information about what is working, what our challenges are, and realize that it's a level playing field. We're all in this together. Next slide. So progress is being made. Next. There are best practices that you'll hear about in a moment, but there's still a long way to go. Again, let's help each other. What can we learn from others? So if you hear something today that helps you, or if you have something you want to share, please enter it in the chat box. How can we collaborate? And you're going to get a follow-up. You're going to get an opportunity to interact with any one of the panelists, with me, with Irene or Eileen after this training today. Most importantly, what do you need? That's why we're here. So all of the awardees receive scorecards, and I'm just going to show you what one looks like, because each of the panelists today are going to be giving you their response to this. This is in a sample scorecard, and it shows you what the score was that they got based on the maximum score and also the HAWP average. And on the right, it showed where they fell with regard to other HAWP awardees. And at the top, you can see the organization type and business size. What's important here is that we have such a range of organizational types: public sector, private sector, for-profit, nonprofit, small, medium, and large. And that's what HAWP's mission is, to appeal to every type of organization, no matter how small. Next. So what does a community of practice mean? Very quickly. If anybody has ever participated in a community of practice, go ahead and put that in the chat box now. What have you done? So the first characteristic of a community of practice is proactive connection for mutual learning and inspiration. If you're listening today and somebody says something that hey, I want to know more about that, reach out to that person in the chat box. Reach out to us and we'll help you make that connection. Another characteristic of community is sharing information, the good, the bad, and guess what? The ugly. Mental health is, as we know, often stigmatized. The biggest barrier we have is to reduce stigma. The more that we're able to share what's not working, what our problems are, the more we're going to be able to make progress. So a big part of this is creating a safe environment for you to share. Next. Sharing resources, identifying gaps, and letting Eileen know. Eileen's here. Eileen's going to wave her hand. What do you need? What are the gaps? Okay. What resources do you have that other people might use? Next. Consult, leverage, optimize your EAP. The EAP, and we've sent out a previous article, is the most underutilized mental health benefit. And so you want to be able to learn about that. And we have an additional set of resources that I think Irene, or we're going to put in the chat box right now, is that we created for mental health. Next. And if you have ones you'd like to share, let us know. This is your program. We're at the cusp of a new era in the HAWP program. It's not just about these scorecards anymore. We can't just collect data and be happy about the fact that we're doing stuff. We have to share it. We have to learn from each other. There is a mental health crisis. And as you know, Arizona is not at the top of the list when it comes to workplace mental well-being, according to national data. So please, please, please make this your program. This is yours. Next. Evaluate and share, and evaluate and improve. We're very interested. This is a public health initiative. Data is very important. And if you can document that you're got a need or document that you're making progress, we're going to do everything we can to support you. So to review, be proactive, ask questions, talk to one another. What inspires you? Colleagues, share your profile with other colleagues to understand what you're doing well, what needs you might have, and how you can learn from or help each other. Resources, use resources provider for mental health areas. Again, the EAP, but it's not just your EAP, it's community resources. So the resource was just put in there. There's a link to a Google Drive with that file. Check those resources out. That took a lot of work to put that together, and we hope you use it. Continue to participate. You could be on a panel in the future. If you want to be on a panel in the future, let Irene and Eileen know. And again, share and evaluate. So we want to get to know a little bit about you. Next slide. What motivates you? What are you doing here? If you want to put in the chat box why you're here, that's going to be very helpful to us. So just very quickly, what brought you today? And we also are going to do a poll here. Do you want to, I'm going to share the poll, first poll. This is which of the following best describes your role? And it's a single choice. I hope you can see that. And if you scroll down, you'll see below student, there's academic, consultant, public health, or other. And while you're doing that, also put in the chat box, why did you hear that? Why are you here? So I'll leave it open for a second. Irene, you can click to have the other image come up. You don't overcome challenges by making them smaller, but by making yourselves bigger. And it's not you as an individual, it's us. It's the we in wellness. You guys here are pioneers. You can make a difference. So I'm going to end the poll. We have a really good response rate. And you can see what we have here. 29% are wellness program directors, 21% HR professionals, many people who are in the other category, if you want to go ahead and share with us, 7% are part of a wellness committee. Yeah, You Wellness Committee people, yes, thank you. So we have one more poll. We want to know what you're interested in upcoming webinars. So which of the following topics would you like the community of practice to cover in upcoming webinars? More detail on each of the mental health areas, more case studies, burnout, leveraging EAP, work-life balance, leadership buy-in, DEIB, or other. And this is, I believe, all, you can check all, multiple choice. So just take a moment. This will give us a sense too, and also the panelists as they speak, because right after this, we're going to dive in. We can't take any more time with me. I want to make sure the panelists get to speak. Yes, thank you. Supporting students, helping Latino women be advocates. Yeah, the more you can share with us, the better. Okay, I'll leave it open for another second. We have a great participation, over almost 90%. This is important data, so I want to leave it open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here we go. Share results. So as you can see here, number one, tied for, well, number one, leadership buy-in for wellness and mental well-being. Okay, if there are leaders here and you want to say, I'm bought in, go ahead and write that in the chat box right now. I'm a leader and I'm bought in. More case studies and best practices. You're going to get that today. Burnout, work-life balance, leveraging EAP. Very cool. Thank you guys for sharing. And I'm going to turn it back over. We're getting to know you. Please make sure you communicate in the chat box any questions you have as we proceed. Irene, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bennett, for that. And now we're going to get into kind of why we're all here and what we're trying to do, again, with the community of practice is bring more conversations, talk to each other more so that we can really work on making, you know, Arizona employees healthier. So the best way to do that is to talk to each other, leverage each other. So that's what we're here to do today. So we have 4 awesome panelists that are going to tell you a little bit about their story at their organization related to mental health and resilience. And so we're really thankful to have them here and excited to go into it. So first up, we have Lisa Maneri from City of Chandler. Lisa, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Irene and Dr. Bennett. I'm thrilled to see a lot of my resiliency trainees in the audience. So great to see you again. She said, I am the Employee and Wellness and Engagement Coordinator for the City of Chandler, and I have been here about 6 months, so I'm still ramping up. Next slide. So this is our scorecard. Being new here, this really just helped show me where we are and where our opportunities were, both to grow as well as to focus. And then I always find it helpful to see how we compare to other organizations, because sometimes you just float out there and are really not sure, okay, so is this a good thing? Is this bad? And it just puts you in a relativity. I guess bad's not the right word, but where do we stand right now? Next slide. So my interest in mental health really started from the beginning of my career, probably before a background in psychology. I was very interested in how their mind worked and development. And so when I started out in New York, a couple years in, 9/11 happened, and the mental games that happened with 9/11, you know, watching it play out from a window at our hospital. As an employee, we prepared for an emergency and for a flux of people that never came. And then as a resident, I remember walking home and wondering why the gym wasn't open. So this horrific thing is happening, but your mind is not quite at the same point. And then over time, the resiliency of the community, of the country, of the world, and just how then a year later, 10 years, and then even yesterday, just seeing how we've changed as a nation, how we've come together in a lot of ways. That led into 20 years later, also at a hospital, COVID-19. And again, watching it play out across the world and seeing, you know, picturing myself making masks in the conference room, you know, how do I protect my team? How do I get them through this? Sorry, my lights keep going off, so we'll just do that. Hopefully you can still see me there. I remember standing at my desk completely frozen, not really knowing what to do. And then watching that transition from complete fear of everyone to coming together, our hospitals working together, building, getting equipment in, and really figuring out what to do and pivoting at any point and changing, because things constantly changed, are adapting. We just adapted. And if you remember, during that time, race relations really came to a hilt. And what I'll specifically mention is, after doing all this incredible work as a hospital for COVID-19, the vaccine came, which in some people's mind was great, and in some people's mind it wasn't. And our hospital chose to mandate that for employment. And so you went from team and great, accomplishment to anger and hatred and really feeling not supported because of this mandate. And so that really led me, this picture in self-awareness is me the first day of having to wear a mask at a hospital. And I really had to take a look at myself and how I was adapting after this. And then, now go ahead, Irene, click there. I made the decision to leave New York, come back out to Arizona, and really think about what I wanted to do. And I just remember all I enjoyed doing in my time in operations was taking care of the employees and figuring out how I can best support them. So that led me to employee wellness and mental health. So successes, I consider my personal journey a success, just that messy middle of trying to figure out what to do and depending on past successes to get you through that and to know that things will come together. I cannot take credit for wellness advocates. There is someone on this call, and possibly two. Ali, I'm talking to you. I'm going to skip to number 3. The coordinators. They had put together a group of coordinators that get on a call every quarter, but we constantly have communication with each other, asking each other questions, seeing if they've used a certain vendor, how did they handle this? And the response and the enthusiasm is just amazing. So I thank you, Ali and team, for having that in place before I got here. Another one is our wellness advocates here at Chandler. When I came on board, I think they were a little burnt out and worn down. A lot of them had been on the committee for years. They were voluntold. They weren't sure what they were supposed to do, and they really didn't interact. And in the short time I've been here, I've really made an effort to get to know them. And our most recent meetings have been much more interactive. So I consider that a big success, and I hope to continue to build on that. Because as Dr. Bennett referenced, the advocates and the people in the area at all the sites are the most important and keep everything together. And finally, our mental health challenge. That's was my first big challenge in this role. And we had 112 participants in the challenge, and then another 176 or so that participated in our mindfulness seminars and studio. Next slide. And this is really just some comments. I won't read through them all, but what really hit me was, one, that they took time to write how they felt and their experience with the challenge, but also that they shared it with others. And I think that's one of the biggest things, again, is you have a reaction to something and are dealing with something and pull others in. One woman pulled her kids in. Another one talked to their husband to really see what their viewpoint was, and so that they could better understand each other. So I think it just goes to show that, that people do take this information and spread it around. So challenges, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to a lot of these challenges. Offsite, those of us that don't just have one group that's at a computer all day, that people are out, they might be out in the fields. It's difficult to reach those different groups. And this is especially where the advocates or champions come into play. We also have technology. Everyone's at a different stage in their technological life. And since everything is kind of moving in that direction, that can make it a challenge for different groups. The terminology, I do feel that, the words mindfulness, resiliency, wellness, well-being, health gets thrown around a lot, and people, they each have their own reputation. And so really trying to make it very clear what these words mean, at least to you, so that you can better spread that as a wellness coordinator or manager or whatever. Information overload, and we all see it. It's all over the internet. You're probably going to get a lot of it today, but it's on the internet, and it's also each of our platforms. Your health insurance has their own platform. Your EAP has their own platform, and then you have another platform, and bringing that all together. And then just understanding expectations, both of your employees, but also of those that you report to and what they expect out of your program. So as a new employee, that's what my have been. And then finish off with our top 10, my bits of advice. So top one, review the data, such as the scorecard, and use it to figure out what your next steps are. And that can be building on something that's already working, or figuring out how to build up something that may not be as profound. Do one thing a day that scares you. I think this got me through my career. Just go for it. You won't know if it works until you try. Coordination and connection. So one, I was talking about the email listserv and all the coordinators, but also I've been fortunate to coordinate with our safety coordinators so that they already have that deep relationship, and utilizing them to show how they all come together, safety and wellness. Different strokes for different folks. I like to say that, not every topic is for every person, and not every person is ready for every topic. This one's one of my favorite. We hear it a lot. Fail fast, fail often. Look at everything as an experiment. It doesn't matter if it doesn't go well, you just try something else. Ask for help. I think Dr. Bennett will support that one. Learn how to respond to rejection. We all get it, and we move on. My favorite one has become never stop learning. We all learn new information, and it changes how we view things. So keep going. And meet people where they are. This is the no judgment conversation. Just everyone's at a different point in their wellness or mental health. And the number one, I find myself not doing a lot, is following my own advice and finding that balance of you're the wellness person and you also love to do all the things that are not really well. So just figuring out like what points you are going to involve yourself in and what opportunities you partake in. So thank you. Hope that wasn't too fast, but appreciate you all listening. Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, we have Abby Snyder from Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. So this organization, this is their first year involved with HAWP. So we wanted to really get, a diverse group of people. So Lisa's new to her position, but City of Chandler has been involved with HAWP for many, many years. So Abby, I will go ahead and pass it over to you.
All right, thank you so much. So I have been here a little over, or actually under a year, and I moved here from Minnesota for my health. So what a great opportunity for me to be part of the Human Resources Department and take on wellness and engagement. Just a little bit about Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport Authority. We have been named one of the fastest growing small hub airports in the United States. We operate, or I should say who operates out of here is Allegiant and Sun Country. And then also we have a board of directors, and that board of directors consists of Apache Junction, Gila River, Queen Creek, Mesa, Gilbert, and Phoenix. Next slide. So with our scorecard, being the first year that we've done this, there was a lot of things that I noticed we weren't doing, some things that we could do better. The scorecard really helped me bring awareness to not only management, but also to the team and say, where are some areas that we can really work on? What are we doing well? And so our scorecard from the score does need a little bit of an improvement, but I find that a great challenge and something that we're willing to take on. And I've been working with different various departments on new strategies and new ideas, and just really working on each of these categories to increase our score for next year. For interest in mental health areas, we really, as an organization, care deeply about our employees. I've heard constant over and over again that the reason that people stay here, and they stay here for years and years, I mean 25 plus years, is because of the people and what the organization does for the people. So we really believe in mental health contributes to better focus, creativity, problem solving. Employees who are mentally well are more likely to become engaged in their work, perform effectively, efficiently. And as we know, poor mental health can really lead to increased absenteeism and stress. So as we put our initiatives together and concentrate on the different areas, we really want to prioritize on mental health and just creating a positive work culture. And we have that commitment to our employees to provide a positive and safe work environment as we continue with these initiatives. Next slide. Some things that we do, that we have, some of these items we started a while ago with my predecessor, but we have also built on some of these initiatives. So things that we do, we have a wellness room. This is a place where employees can go listen to music, they can take a break, they can de-stress. We have yoga mats. We have these circle wheels that you can actually just stretch out. We have a couch, we have books, just an area to really decompress, and you earn wellness points if you actually sign in to use the wellness room. And we'll talk about points program in just a second. But it's a great way for people to just kind of leave their work area and decompress. We also promote heavily our EAP. I know Joel talked about it earlier. We have a great idea coming up in March. We have this little chip, and I can't say, oops, you can't probably see it, but it's a chip, it's a poker chip, and I can't take credit for it because another company did it first, but it's a chip, and on the chip is our EAP information. So people can carry this around with them, and if they need to reach out to someone, they can just look at the chip. They don't need to come to HR and be like, oh, what's that information about that EAP again? We do have posters everywhere in each of our buildings, but this is just another great tactic that we can use that really can engage our EAP. We have a very accepting environment. I haven't been here in a year. Unfortunately, I had some medical issues come up. I can't tell you how supportive employees were, managers were. They're like, you know what? You take time to heal, you know, get better, and then you come back to your job. It was amazing. I'm not sure that most companies would have put up with me for so long with some of my medical issues, but I was just grateful to be a part of such a supporting team and organization. We also have a points program. So we have a various points program, and in the points program, you can earn points by working out, having family dinners, having game night with friends, taking a social media break, you know, hiking. And each time you do that, you email me and you get a point for doing a certain activity, and those points lead to gift cards. So you can get a gift card to like Trader Joe's or Fry's. We also have some wellness items that you can purchase with your points. So like a diffuser, a hammock, just stuff like that that you can utilize. And then at the end of the points, you have a chance to earn 85 points total in the program for the fiscal year, and you get a $50 Amazon gift card at the end. So it's a great way for employees to challenge themselves and do things that maybe they wouldn't normally do or normally talk about. And so they're emailing me saying, I had this great recipe. I tried this recipe. It works great. And then I posted it on our social media page and other people can try it. So way to also encourage other people to participate in the program as well. We do promote one-on-one meetings with managers weekly. We have a town hall style meeting with all staff every other month where the executive director comes in and he puts up a slide and says, what do you want to talk about? And then we go around the room and people talk about, I have questions about this, or I really have questions about that. And then most of our positions promote work-life balance. We do offer 410s. And then we also promote the physical and well-being through activities. So we do hikes, we have a kayaking trip coming up, just various activities that people can participate in. Next slide. We had a person that, you know, unfortunately didn't have enough time to take time off, sick time. So what happened is we have a sick donation program. I can't tell you how many employees came forward to donate their sick time to this employee because we care. We truly care here. And this is a statement that she had written that she's like, this is really the best place to work. I can't believe the support. And I am so grateful to be here. And it's because we do all this stuff about mental wellness and we step up and be there for each other and we talk about it. Next slide. So there are some challenges, of course, is always getting the leadership support, understanding, what's we're talking about today is mental health, and getting that leadership buy-in. It's participation. We have 3 different buildings. Sometimes it's, this building versus that building. So it's making sure that stigma isn't there and we're all a team. It's also making sure that we're 24-hour operations, so making sure we consider personal and work schedules as well when we plan activities. And then also, when we first onboard employees, what happens is we go through everything with them, but sometimes they forget. So we also provide information like a Did You Know series to new employees so that they can remember everything we talked about the first couple days. And then also being a government entity, we do have budget constraints and want to be fiscally responsible. Advice going forward is just really try a variety of things, do surveys, get feedback, make sure you're able to pivot, making sure that if one person says, oh, that wasn't a great activity, that isn't the consensus for everyone, but just trying different things and don't give up. So that's my advice.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Victoria Clark from Bryan University. So Victoria, take it away.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I am Victoria Clark. I am the executive assistant over at Bryan University. I've been with them for about 8 years. I'm also the wellness champion within the organization. A little bit about us is we're an online university that provides students with advanced and engaging interactive educational environment. Next, when you see our scorecard, everything reflects regarding our employees. So we aren't student facing when it comes to completing the HAWP application. This is all strictly with our employees. We are a small and medium company. We've been participating in HAWP, and I think at least 8 years, 7 years, something like that. So we have been around for a minute, and I will say we're continuing to grow and show improvement in our scorecards. You can see right here, obviously not everything is checked. We do have some room and some improvement in sleep and fatigue, which is what I'm hoping to tackle in the upcoming months. But we mainly try to utilize our health insurance and our EAP. We also have a wellness platform called Vitality, in which we help to utilize these. So why we're focusing on mental health, as most of you know, obviously the last few years have been a struggle for a lot of people. We were fully in the office until March of 2020, where we have since been fully remote with no looking into going back into the office, which we've also started to hire employees outside of Arizona. What we have seen, though, is as we're growing, which is great, and we're becoming a better university and it's more successful, is that's creating more work, which has been creating more stress and burnout within our community of employees, which we've constantly been seeing more phrases of stress and burnout. Successes, I won't go strictly into them, but I will say and reiterate, we utilize in regarding the CDC scorecard and how we answer that, we utilize the health insurance plans. We have a wellness platform called Vitality, similar to what Abby was just saying in regards to points. It's a points-based system. The goal is to earn 10,000 points in the program, which gives you free dollars to use, such as Amazon, Target, hotels.com. So that's a great way to incentivize the employee by utilizing a wellness platform. We also, within our team, I run the wellness program or the team, and we create monthly challenges to help get our employees engaged in specific categories such as depression, stress management. Next slide. All right, so here are some examples of what has been working for us lately. A mood tracker. So we just started this in May. It has been an amazing hit with the employees. I just received some emails within the last few weeks of how employees are utilizing the mood tracker to kind of now gauge where their moods are during the month. They're starting to see a pattern on where they are, what days, what weeks, where they are in their mood during the month. So it's been a huge hit. I highly recommend that. We also recently had a stress webinar with an outside vendor who taught us some wonderful things in regards to help with our stress, one of which was some breathing techniques. And also something I didn't know, but she said we should be moving our eyes around our room every 20 minutes. So take your eyes off your screen every 20 minutes. So I heard wonderful feedback from our employees afterwards who have now been utilizing those to help with their day in case they are in the moment of a stressful situation. The fall family picnic, so get-togethers. Since we are remote, we hardly see each other face to face. And I think seeing that camaraderie and being together adds another helps with stress and with mental health. We took these away once COVID hit, but we brought them back last year, and I have had the most attendance possible and well attended, and everyone had a great time. So that was an example of a success. Currently, what we're facing right now with challenges, you could see in my scorecard profile, is we currently do not have any training for managers to help improve their ability to recognize the needs within their employees. I think that's a huge challenge, and it's something that I'd like to change. I'm not sure how or where to go with that, but that is one of our challenges. The next one is help to promote mental health within the company regarding health monthly challenges. I try my best. The mood tracker is a step in the right direction. I also have employees that say they don't read my emails, and so it's kind of hard to promote something when I can't get them to read my emails. So that's a challenge of mine. And lastly is social activities with remote employees, those family picnics, the holiday parties, they're open to Arizona employees. They're just not open and available to the employees outside of the state. They are, but they would have to, pay their way to come here, which I can understand is a significant hardship. So what are the ways to create social activities to help foster a social support system in a remote community? And my advice, just like Abby said, I survey the employees. I send bi-yearly questionnaires. I think the best way to get information on what employees need or want is just ask them themselves. And I think it's a great opportunity to see where you're missing and where you're not missing. If you don't already have a wellness team created, I highly suggest it. We have one with employees. I run it once a month, and all of the participants within the team are employees who have volunteered their time to meet once a month. Advice, start small. That's all I think. We've grown so much within using HAWP that we started really small and we've moved our way up. Any little small movement is still something in the upward direction.
Thank you, Victoria. And next up, we have Estella Barraza with Isaac School District. So another one, Victoria said Bryan University has been involved with HAWP for the past 8 years. Isaac School District, this is their first year, so we get to hear a couple of different stories. So Estella.
Hello, everyone. Well, I'm high-fiving you, virtual high five, as just for showing up and being committed to improve the well-being of your workforce. At Isaac School District, we're very much focused and dedicated for student success and to helping them really excel not only in their education, but also in life. And I always love to share with our staff that we can't do that if we're not showing up at our best and well. So hence the program that we have, the Isaac Wellness Wellbeing Program. And it stems from our leadership. Our superintendent is very dedicated and cares so much about the well-being of all of the staff and even the students. But in this instance, it's about empowering our staff to experience just better health in and outside the workplace. And as you can see, that is our second year that we completed last year, school year. We're kicking off our third year now. In our scorecard here, we got 100% for what we did last year. It was our first year really making this type of assessment and seeing how what the efforts that we did last year were doing. One of the biggest things and takeaways for us was to how do we enhance what we're already doing? How do we innovate? And yes, we might be promoting a program, but are people really utilizing, or are they receiving the information in a way that they can understand it so that they can take action? So what we have seen in our areas, and this is what prompted us to focus this year on mental health and really utilizing what we already have, which is our EAP program that we have had, but we had very, very low utilization. And that was a huge eye-opener when we started to really dig deep into into the numbers that we're utilizing it. And so we also asked our staff, what is it that you need for the upcoming year? And what they talked about was that it was about having work-life balance. It was about developing those healthy habits and helping them with that. And also to avoid that burnout that happens either for school system, it typically happens for staff when either tests are due or when grades are due, or that they're going through challenging times with either students for any behavioral issues. So even helping them with how to navigate with those for themselves. So what we're planning for this year is to enhance that EAP utilization with, and I got a couple of great ideas from what our colleagues shared here, but one of the things that we're focusing on is to increase really the promotion in different campaigns throughout the year instead of just putting it out once or having the posters around the school, which we do, is giving them different either stories from staff that are willing to share, to utilizing really from our leadership on how they can also promote it when times of stress come in for their staff, and that they have something handy to share with their team members. We also develop a partnership with WEN, a company that is focused on improving well-being and career optimization for staff. And what they're going to be doing this year is to have, for all of our staff members, they have access to WEN, which gives them 4 different coaching sessions that they can utilize for anything that relates to an aspiration that they have or a goal that they have in their well-being, career, or a challenge that they're currently facing, and how to move them through that phases of behavior change, so, or reaching that goal. So they will have this phone calls with an experienced coach. And then the other part is doing those leadership check-ins that we started to do this year compared to last year. And it's focused on how, as a wellness a leader in ISIC, how can I connect with the leaders, with our principals, our directors, on a monthly basis, not only to check in on their health, but also to check in on their staff's health and how they're doing. So one of the questions that I always ask them, and that I started asking in the past 2 months, is what is on your mind for well-being? So it really comes to helping them think about what is going on within the last month. And then I say from 1 to 5, where is it that your staff is with their well-being? So they can rate that from 5 being very happy to 1 already burned out. So we can see how that pattern goes throughout the year. And that's what, when we think about our successes, is the superintendent, as I mentioned in the beginning, is incredibly committed to just the well-being of our staff and our students, and really starting from there and STEM integrating the program, but also having the board approval for, especially when it comes to our budget, our programming, and so on. And having our well-being champions in place at each of our sites so that they can be the promoters. People know them, people trust them. And when they talk about a program or really encouraging them to implement a new initiative that we're doing, that has been a huge success for us, that they're hearing it from their own peers. And then also having a well-being strategy since the beginning of the year and a budget for us to be able to complete this. We saw an engagement from our first year from 64% to about 71% in our digital wellness app. It's called Well Styles through Virgin Pulse, which is the platform. And that's then log in either steps to other healthy habits or utilization of having PCP or getting their eye exams to everything else. And what they earn is by doing all this tracking, they earn up to a certain amount of points, which will earn them up to $200 for the year. And we can see at the bottom chart is the levels that they have reached. So dark blue is more of the first year that we had it, which was 21-22. And then the lighter blue is the other for this past year. And what we saw, it was just an increase in the level. So people are actually more engaged, they're earning that $200. But again, we did come across some challenges that we're currently facing still, which I'll talk about on the next slide. And then I'll come back to the story. So one of the main things was the EAP utilization, which I mentioned that we're doing different initiatives. The language barrier, we do have different staff members, which are a huge population in our district that are Spanish only or preferably speakers. And again, we primarily in English and then Spanish. So translating, setting up meetings to have both languages where the information is disseminated when it comes to our well-being program. And then the generational and digital diversity. So anywhere from Gen Z to Gen X, and really thinking about how do we help them utilize the app that we have, or really thinking about the different ways that they care about their well-being, because one generation may be thinking about their well-being differently than the other generation. So really promote it in a way that they can understand and that relates to their own well-being goals. And then the other one is schedule availability, just because we have just different departments or even the teachers that they're dedicated to the students throughout the day, and then having that space for either the activities that we have in place and so on. And all of this, I'll go back to these stories that we have had, which have been incredible. Every week we highlight at least 2 people per department to help with that they have done with their success. And we can see here that people have either started running marathons for the first time, helping reduce their stress levels, they improve their diabetes markers and so on. So it has been a wide range of how this well-being program has helped them. So my advice to you here is, as I have shared different points of things that we have worked for us here at ISEC, but I will say first start with the strategy. It's really designing a well-being strategy that is organization-wide. So thinking about all your departments and then doing a lot of interviewing and focus groups so you know what the staff need and the leaders need. So when you're designing the strategy, is helping with the current need for them. So it's almost personalizing it to your organization. And the second thing is about personalizing the engagement. A lot of times is how do we personalize it with those monthly one-on-ones for leadership, to going with staff, having the well-being champion that supports them on a weekly basis, and then having partners that also support with your initiative for that engagement piece. So outside vendors and so on. And then evaluating. One of the bigger things and what we noticed from the CDC report card was, are we real, what kind of success are we having? And that also helps to continue with receiving that budget and having either how we're retaining or promoting our workforce. So making those almost informed decisions to innovate for the upcoming year. So I hope this was helpful on the tips that we have been doing at ISEC.
Yeah,
Wonderful. I'm going to launch a poll before we have to go here. So this is, if you would be interested in contacting any of the panelists or presenters for more information, you can go ahead and select that. We really want to create the dialogue and conversation. So before you jump off, please fill out this quick poll, just so we know. We're not going to show the results here. This is just for our own purposes, to know if there are people you would like to contact. This is important because the whole point of this is to create community and conversation and dialogue. And we'll stay on for a couple of more minutes after this. But again, this is all about you and our next topics that we're going to be doing. We're going to come back to you. We covered a lot of ground in a very short period of time, and we'll, in the future, determine what you want us to focus on so we can get more highlighted and focused information to you. So please go ahead and fill this out now, and we'll keep track. And so we will be able to set up a conversation with you please email Irene at irene.cassidy@maricopa.gov. If you have any other specific questions, our next community of practice is October 24th. If you know that you're interested in being part of a panel to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, or have a specific topic you'd like to share with us, please, October 24th, 1 o'clock to 2 p.m. That is an important thing to put on your calendar. You're going to be getting a reminder of that in a little bit here. So before you jump off, if you don't mind going ahead and telling us that. And as I said, we'll stay on for another 5 minutes for those of you who want to ask additional questions. But for now, I'll turn it back over to Irene and see if there's anything else that you want to discuss, Irene.
No, that was it. Yeah, thank you again to our 4 panelists. You know, the goal of this initiative is just to kind of get the conversation started. Like Dr. Bennett said, we really want to leverage each other and use each other so that we can help Arizona employees. So yeah, the next one is October 24th. If you want to be a part of the panel, reach out to me. If you have any other questions or concerns about this initiative. And Eileen just put in the chat, if you don't want to be in the panel, but you still want to be a part of it, the link to register for next month is also in the chat.
Yeah, for those of you who are here, we also have one more poll, just so we can get another sense of who you are. Which of the following best describes your current efforts in creating a culture of mental well-being in your organization? Just getting started, initial efforts, program in place for a few months, programs in place for a year or more, program in advanced phases. But we'll leave it open. Any questions coming in or any comments that we have? Anybody share anything we see? Anything coming in?
A lot of thank you. So yeah, just want to thank you again, panelists, for being the first part of this and for helping us kick this initiative off.